Joining me now, chief political analyst for the show A More Perfect Union, Dr. Corte, along with political strategist Rina Shah, both of our NewsNation friends. Thank you guys for being here. I want to ask you both about tamping down the political temperature. What do you make of both sides and how they're handling this second assassination attempt and this political violence? Dr. Corte, I'll start with you.
Well, I mean, I think we're seeing a very different tone coming from both former President Trump and Vice President Harris. Just yesterday at the convening of the National Association of Black Journalists, of which course I'm a part of, we saw Vice President Harris really more measured, really more substantive in her response to the questions that most everyday Americans are having to deal with and work through. She talked about her economic policy in great depth. She talked about how she's not assuming just because she's black that she's going to automatically get the vote of all black folks, particularly black men. She said to folks that she needed to earn that. She also even made a little bit of news, talking about Springfield, Ohio, and the recklessness of anybody who has a bully pulpit, certainly a former president, sowing conspiracy theories, right? She reminded us, she put a human face on it and reminded us that there were young people on that day that were at school for picture day and had to be evacuated from their schools, because of this big lie. And so there's a striking contrast between that and some of the misleading statements that were being told to this crowd of auto workers about, China working to take away factory jobs from them by investing in factories in Mexico that just is not happening.
Rina, I appreciated that moment when the audience booed when former President Trump mentioned Kamala Harris's name, and he was like, no, 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 no. I mean, could he, and is he, or do you expect him to do more on his part to reel in what we're seeing and this political violence and rhetoric?
There's a fact here, and it's that we can't turn the dial back on how our nation has accepted violence to not just be part and parcel with daily life. And I'm talking not just a certain type of violence other than gun violence. We don't see knife fights in the street being commonplace, but what we do see is our fellow Americans gunned down while attending church, while trying to see a movie, while going to school. This is not normal. And what we've done is normalize it as a society by allowing our elected leaders to say statements such as, there's no place for violence in America. What we need are more leaders that acknowledge the moment. What we need are some younger leaders who feel the great pain of losing children or their brothers or sisters or their mothers or fathers. I'm part of the sandwich generation, Marni, and I think we ought to acknowledge that. It's too much in politics. We tiptoe around facts and we only mention those that seem convenient. I don't see anything different with either of these campaigns. And look, I'm openly supporting Harris because I think she's the best person to enter the White House next year. I don't think Trump deserves a re-entry, but that doesn't skew how I feel about the state of our politics. Unfortunately, we've had special interests take over far too much, and all we hear are milquetoast statements from our leaders running at the highest level of office. So after this historic second attempt on the former president's life, the immediate former president of the United States, I need to reiterate that, we have not seen anything change, nor will we until we start to see more systemic reform that is multi-pronged in its approach.
Yeah, we deserve. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.